best car, SUV, or truck, guess what? You're in luck. Frontier Motors is down the street. Got the best deals that can't be beat. Don't overpay, come in today. Doing business the old-fashioned way. Frontier, we've got the right price. Frontier, we'll treat you mighty nice. Frontier Motors, low overhead country.
Yes, indeed. And we are pleased to have the owners of that fine establishment here in our studio, ready, willing, and certainly more than able to take any phone inquiries from you concerning the price of a car or a truck or an SUV that you are thinking of buying or selling or trading in. Just give us a call at 478-3116, and you will speak to the owners of Frontier Motors. Those owners in question, Mr. Ivan Streckle and Mr. Ron Schneider. Good morning, gents.
Thanks, Don. Thanks for great introduction. And we come again to you live on the radio, 1370 AM radio. We've been doing this AM radio show for going on about, close to 18 years. We're going on our 19th year in business. We started doing the radio show here about 18 years ago. We also videotape this for our customers that are watching us on TV right now, satellite and cable. So if you're watching this on TV, don't bother calling in. This is a call-in show. And what we do with the call-in show is we give values and we give advice on which car is a good car, bad car, what to do to get your car ready for sale, anything about the car business other than fixing them. We're not fixers artists. We'll leave that up to the Bobby Leica show. But if you've got any questions about how to buy a car and what to pay for a car, you can join us by dialing 478-3116.
A lot of good free services we offer you, and used car lots generally don't have too many things free. But we offer a lot of free services, and those are, of course, values. 478-3116 for those listening on the radio. Don is standing by. That was Don Parker, 20-year veteran here at WCOA.
20 years has been Don?
21, actually.
Really?
Wow.
I don't know how that happened.
He's a double dipper. He was actually in the police force for 20 years, and then he came over here, so he's a double dipper, and great radio personality helping us along here, us two used car guys.
That would be the Sheriff's Department, just for the record.
The police department, sheriff, I guess that's all saying.
Yeah.
There's no,
No.
It's different,
It
right?
starts all
It's
over.
different.
It's different, absolutely. Blue uniforms and green uniforms. We are here to talk a little bit about Frontier Motors. Frontier is located at 230 Beverly Parkway. For those that are not familiar with Beverly Parkway, it's an extension of Brent Lane. You go over Highway 29, that turns into Beverly Parkway right there. We're 2-3 blocks on your right-hand side. For those not familiar coming from the west side, you can go down Salty Field Road, which turns into Michigan Avenue, which turns in, when you go over the railroad tracks right there before W Street, turns into Beverly Parkway. Cross over W Street, 2 or 3 blocks on your left-hand side. These values that we bring you are what's in our area. And one of the big reasons we do the radio show and the television show like this is to bring you awareness of what to use. I mean, there's Kelley Blue Book, there's, what's the other one? Edmunds. And there's some other things on the internet, and they'll confuse the heck out of you. They're not used in this area. Your banks, your credit unions, let's just say you throw the used car guys out for now, that your banks and credit unions don't use them. They use the NADA guides. When we have 11 lenders in the Frontier Motors where we can take your credit, send it to them. We don't send it to all 11, but all 11 use the NADA guide. They use the retail factor, they use the average trade-in factor, they use the loan factor, but they use the NADA. And that's most widely used, so that's what we quote you out of, and that's what we can. We also quote you out of the Black Book guides. Black Book guides are the figures that are taken from the southeast United States. As a matter of fact, there's a little map on the back that shows that the cumulative values out of all of the auto auctions are put in there, and then they're averaged out. And those give us idea of wholesale values. And why do you want to know what a wholesale value is? Well, that's how much we pay for them or try to pay for them at auto auction. You add the freight and you add everything else, and then that's back to the dealership where they come. And then we have new car cost guides. And the reason we carry these big new car cost guides is, again, another free service to help you with maybe cost of a new car. You want to know a little bit more about that. But what we do is we're the alternative to new because we don't sell new cars. So when we buy a 2014 Honda Accord, what Ivan will do, he'll turn to that book right there. He'll book out a 2014 Honda Accord and how much it costs at the dealership. He'll subtract $2,500, $3,000, and that's our aim, to save you money. So you got to have a cost guide. Otherwise, you wouldn't know how much money we're going to save somebody. But those are things that we do daily and daily. But if you want to join us on the show, radio show, listeners, 478-3116.
The big question always is, which book is correct?
Yes.
You know, when we have customers come in, and you cannot, the book that we use right now that I'm holding up right now is the NNDA. It's a official used car guide. Unfortunately, you got to be a used car dealer, a bank, credit union, insurance company to be able to buy this. You can't get this on the internet. They do have a version of the NEDA guidebook on the internet. It's called the consumer's version. Sometimes they're very close. Sometimes they're miles apart. And the questions that I always get around when a customer comes in, well, how come there's so many books, and why aren't you using those books? And it's interesting because even this book here, which is the one that we use, that the banks and credit unions use, even this says, there's a little article in here, a little paragraph, I should say. This guide is designed and intended to assist subscribers in performing their own estimated valuation of a particular used vehicle during the period for which the guide is published, which is every month, by the way. The process by which users of the guide determine valuation is inherently subjective. Individual vehicles may have an actual value that is higher or lower than the estimated values published in this guide, which is really interesting, Ron, because I had a customer come in the other day, and he said that I'm not going to pay over, I'm going to use the term, let's say $10,000 for your car. And I said, why not? Because my banker told me that's all it's worth. I said, well, what did he do? He said he pulled out the NEDA guidebook, and he booked it out, and he says, that's all that car is worth. Well, the banker must have never read that paragraph. And what you do with Frontier Motors, folks, the reason we're in town, other than the fact we want to sell cars, we're in town to help you, that if you need to get what I call the real value, you call us. And what I mean by real value is forget about even these books, which is the ones our bank used. Forget about these black wholesale guidebooks. The way that I can determine what a car's value is by getting into the internet and finding out what can I buy that car for wholesale at an auction. Now, if I know I can buy a car wholesale at an auction for $10,000, if this book says it's worth $16,000 retail, you're paying way too much, because we don't make $6,000 on a car. Now, I'd love to make $6,000 on a car. I'd be able to retire early. I wouldn't even be talking to you right now. Unfortunately, the average used car dealership makes about $1,600 on a car, which, when you consider the amount of money that you have to invest to buy a car, that's not really that much money on a percentage basis. It might be 5 to 6%. You go to a grocery store, I believe the last time we talked to Monroe, I think he said that the average grocery store marks up their merchandise 15%, if not more. So the markup is minor. But what I'm getting at, folks, is that why not use us to make sure you get a good deal? If you're going to buy a car from your neighbor, if you're going to buy one on Craigslist, if you're going to buy one at another car dealership, whether that be a used car dealership or a new car dealership, before you sign the bottom line, call Frontier Motors. This is Ron. I'm Ivan. We've got three sales managers that are standing by that have the same information that we have, and we can tell you what we can sell you that car for by making a small profit on it. And that will save you a bunch of money, because a lot of dealerships could care less about any books. They'll just mark it up to what they think they want to make. And we're going to be here to keep those other dealerships real, to make sure that you don't overpay.
I think you hit the nail on the head, as they say. You know, when you come with these books, we had a customer the other day, and here we have a really low mileage Honda Accord, and I used our Price Driver. I used the internet.
What's Price Driver?
Price Driver is a accumulation of 26 different dealers in the area that are selling cars like that car. So I went to 2012 Honda Accord. I looked up the 2012 Honda Accord, and I looked at what people were pricing the Accords around. Every single one of ours in that area were higher than ours. And this particular gentleman was offering us the NADA retail with including tax tag and title. You know why? Because his bank said that's what it was worth. And the bad thing about that, and I don't know, foolish.
I'm gonna slap that banker when I see him.
All I needed was, in this particular case, this was one of these cars that are a little bit tougher to get. So if in normal sales, I'd need $300-400 over that just to make a decent deal for Frontier Motors.
Yep.
I was willing to fold and go back to the NADA average retail and sell it to him, but he wanted to include a tax and tag. You know why? It's great.
His banker told him to do it.
Now,
You know, the
what's
funny
really
thing
foolish, he's going to run all over the southeastern
He'll
United
never buy
States. He's never going to buy a nice quality car. You know, and I told him, I said, if somebody actually includes $1,200 worth of taxes, $200 worth of tag, and their dealer prep fee, there's something wrong with the car. Yeah. In other words, when Ivan sends all of our buyers to the sale, there's 2012 Honda Accords there with the trunk off of it and the bumper off of it and the back right fender dented. You know, and some car lots look at that as a gem. You know, they look at it as like a little rough penny, and they go, ooh, I could put a new hood on that, I could put that, I could fix that, I could paint it, and nobody'd ever know because the painting is so good nowadays. And I can buy that car right now $3,000 cheaper than that guy from Frontier Motors buying that low mileage car. I could fix it up, and that's what kind of car he's going to buy. He's going to buy something that somebody put together, not light. I'm not saying he's going to buy a total lot vehicle. I'm not saying he's going to buy something that's been tore up and run over by a train. But there's a reason that a car dealership can sell one for $2,000 less. That's because there was something wrong with the car when they bought it, you know?
And you know, the books are the same for a nasty car,
right,
or a good car. The NEDA books that the banker uses does not have average, clean, or rough condition. Now, the one on the internet does.
Right.
When you go to Consumers Reports or you go to Edmunds or the Kelly, they have average, clean, and rough. Now, who wants to buy a rough condition car? But the bankers, they have one retail price. It doesn't matter if the car is a complete turd or if it's really, really nice. It doesn't really matter. And that's why there's an issue. When we go to the auction and I look at the auction values, let's say it's a 2012 Impala. From the high to the low, all 2012 Impalas, the same model, let's say it's an LT model vehicle, there can be as much as a $6,000 spread between the most expensive one and the cheapest one. Now, that's a lot. Some of it might be mileage. One might have 70,000 miles versus 30, but if you take all the ones that are in the 30,000 mile gap, you'll still have a $3,000 difference between the cheapest one that a dealer bought versus the most expensive one. And the one reason is the condition and the eye appeal of the car. When I say eye appeal, is it ugly or is it really good looking? Nobody wants to buy an ugly car, but the banker doesn't even look at the car. He never even asks you to bring it over there so you can see it.
Let's put a little subtitle, and not all banks, not all credit unions are doing this.
I'm bashing all of them, Dan.
No, I take my hats off to Navy Federal Credit Union. Navy Federal Credit Union right now is 125% of NADA retail. So if you find a quality car,
they give you a spread.
So they give you a little bit of spread. So if you find a quality car and you got to pay $800 more, you got to add the 7% tax, and you got to add a tag on there. They give you that leeway in their loans, and they've recognized that there's some cars out there that are tougher in the market. I even brought up the BMW. If you bought the BMW, you pay too much. But if you bought a Honda Accord, if you bought something that's hard to find, or a nice Subaru, you might have to pay a little bit extra. Just don't let it go for $400 or $500 too much. If you take it to Bobby Likis, or if you take it to your mechanic, or where you take it somewhere and have it checked out, and it's a beautiful, nice car from the right area, and it's a one owner, spend a little extra. I'm not saying spend a bunch. Just spend a little bit extra. But before you do that, give us a call at Frontier Motors. We'll run the VIN number for you. We'll run this car report. We'll run the value reports, and we'll run the history about the car. And we'll find out if that's true. And if it's true, we're going to tell you, buy it. If we have something comparable, we're going to tell you then. But it's real simple, real easy, and that's all it is to do in the car business. Just try and make it more simple.
It's very simple. One of the things that you're going to find out when you come to Frontier Motors to shop for a car is that we're going to make it so easy for you to not get, just to shop by yourself if you want. A lot of customers shop on Sunday, and the reason they shop on Sunday is because most dealerships are closed and they don't want to be bothered. Well, at Frontier Motors, you can shop during the week just like it was a Sunday, even though we're open. You tell our salespeople, I just want to look, give me a price list. Our salespeople are nice enough to open every car. We've got 321 cars in inventory. Every car they unlock so that when you do come in on your lunch hour, you can jump from car to car and look at your leisure. Our cars have stickers on them that tell you the equipment and tell you the mileage, because a lot of them, obviously you can't see how many miles are on the car until you turn the key on. Well, if you don't have the key, how do you know? Well, the stickers have the mileage, it has the gas mileage ratings, it has everything that you need to know, and you have a price list. Ron's got a price list right here, for example. We can give you one of these price lists when you come to the dealership, so you'll know what we're asking every car and give you a little bit of information about the car, and that way you can think about it. And the nice thing about what we do is before you leave, Ron or myself or one of our sales managers are going to give you the best price we can give you on that car. It might be the price that we have on sale on the internet. It might be a hair lower than that. We're going to also include all of the fees. Then when you walk out of Frontier Motors, you'll have a price in writing signed by a sales manager that'll guarantee you that price as long as the car is not sold by the time you come back. Now, nobody that I know of.
It's only got 17,000 miles. It's $15,900. That's a $4,755 savings. Wow. A $379 tax savings because you would have paid tax on that $4,479. Now, I did something else. I broke out and financed. I said, how much is that savings really counting towards a payment? Well, if you take that $4,755 and that $379 in tax savings, it's $103.81 per month on your payment. In other words, if you bought it new and your payment was $350, if you bought it used, your payment would be $250 or less, $240 something. And I found another one. Here's a little Honda Odyssey. Here's a Honda Odyssey that's very, very expensive. Brand new, $555. Brand new. That's an expensive Odyssey. 13,577 miles. It's $32,500. That's $5,055 in savings, $400 in tax savings. And when you multiply that again by 60 months at the normal rate, average rate, I did 3.99. It's $109 in savings again per month. So if you went to the new car dealer and you found out your payment was $450 on your brand new Honda Odyssey, if you bought one with 15,000 miles, 13,000 miles on it, your payment could be as low as $350 a month. So it's amazing when you break it down that a little bit of savings sometimes at $3,500, $4,500, $55. What it really does save you, including the tax, including the interest, including the payment, and everything else, that you should really, really look at the alternative. The alternative is to buy a car that's a year or two old.
I don't know how people buy new cars, Ron.
Either.
I get sticker
Crazy.
shock myself. I was looking at a diesel truck the other day. The window sticker of this diesel truck was $61,000. I saw a Cadillac Escalade the other day online at one of the dealers. It had almost a $90,000 window sticker.
Ouch. Ouch.
Wow! And then I look at this article, Ron, in our automotive news. It says car loans reach a record length. I'm trying to figure out how do people afford a car, and I figured it out.
Yeah.
They just make the term longer and longer. I remember when we got into business, which quite a long time ago, 36-month loan was taboo. That's way too long.
Yeah.
I'm not financing a car for 36 months. Well, guess what? They're up to, this is an interesting one. The average automotive loan term reached a record high of 66 months during the first quarter of 2014. In addition, loans with terms of 84 months have risen up to 25% of the new car loans. In other words, 25% of new car loans are 84 months. Last time I looked, I think that was 7 years, Ron. 7 years.
We used to have a joke that when people say they're looking for a $200 payment, say, well, most people don't want to go 10 years, but we'll ask the bank if you can do that.
Records were also set on the average amount financed for a new vehicle loan. The average amount was up $1,000 over last year, and the average amount financed on a new car loan was $27,612 for a monthly payment of $474. That's the average monthly payment. And folks, what we do at Frontier Motors, Ron and I ran new car dealerships for a while. We decided to get out of it and open our own place and go to used, not new, not a franchise. We don't want the franchise because it was hard for me. And I remember when I sold Cadillacs, Ron, and Pontiacs and Isuzu and Jaguars, I ran a 4-franchise dealership up in the Milwaukee area. I was embarrassed when a customer had a change of heart after they bought the new car from me. And I remember this on a Cadillac like it was yesterday. It was probably 35 years ago, where I sold the car to a customer, and 6 months later, he came back and he wanted to trade it in because he didn't like it. And I think the car was probably $40,000. And the appraisal on it was $25,000. So, and I couldn't, it was hard for me to justify. Now, I wasn't in control. I wasn't the manager. I was a salesman. But it was hard for me to justify to the customer that he lost $15,000 in 6 months. I mean, that's extreme. But I remember that like it was yesterday. So what we decided to do is let's give the people of Pensacola an alternative to a new car. There are people that are going to buy new cars. If people didn't buy new cars, Ron and I would be out of business. Because if somebody doesn't buy the new car or lease a new car, I'm not going to have any car to sell. So somebody's going to be buying that new car, but don't let it be you. Have it be your neighbor that pays doesn't get the depreciation that we're going to offer you. Ron, I sold the car yesterday. A Chrysler Town Country customer came in, had 1,700 miles on it. Ron, you bought it. I remember you buying the car from a gentleman. He bought that car. He says, I don't know why I bought a Town and Country. I'm all by myself. It seats 7 people. What the heck was I thinking? So 1,700 miles later, it brings us the car. Of course, he loses his butt on it because he bought a brand spanking new. We sold it to a customer that was up at the new car store. And he ended up saving $5,500. This is not off the list price. This is off the discounted price of a new one. After the rebates of a new one, he saved $5,500. It was a no-brainer for him. It was still a lot of money, the $30,000 car, but it was $40,000 brand new.
I like you have it. No-brainer. But that's what it is. I mean, when you get into this
You have
used
to
car
think is
business,
what I'm saying.
Yeah, well, it is. In this used car business, it is. Some of the savings you see is incredible. And you talk about depreciation. Some cars like Cadillacs and BMWs, they had a show on that Motor Week that's on like channel something 31 or something like that, and they were showing the Highline cars how bad they depreciate. Now a Honda Accord that's $22,000 or a Honda Civic that's $18,000, they don't have, even if it does 10%, so that's not a lot. That's only $1,800. When you take a car that's $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 and depreciates 30, boy, I mean you're right.
That's a lot of money.
I feel sorry for that. Like you say, the sap that bought that thing. Talking about great buys in the used car industry. These are the top 10 best sedan buys. These are the best sedan. 2010 Altima right now is the hottest. Is number 10. 2010 Dodge Charger, and we see a lot of those. 2009 Camry, very very good buy. This is by Auto Bytel. 2008 Altima. 2010 Honda Accord. 2009 Honda Accord. Number 3, 2010 Hyundai Sonata. That's one of the top 3.
I love Sonatas because they have a 5-year warranty. And they look the best out of all the sedans.
Yeah, followed by a 2011 Camry, great buy, according by Auto Bytel. And guess what's number 1?
Camry?
2011 Hyundai Sonata. 2011.
Oh, the 11 Sonata.
Yeah, so if you want to buy a new Sonata, you go to Ellen Turner. If you want to buy a used Sonata, you come to Frontier Motors.
Makes
I think
sense.
we got about 4 or 5 in stock right now. And the reason we spot this is because there's still a little bit of apprehension, I guess, that these Hyundais and Kias aren't really holding their own, but they're great cars.
They are.
Just like Ivan said, they have great warranties. All of our customers love them. We haven't had any big fallacies or problematic things with them, and they're still depreciate a little bit more because they're still not grasping it. Now, the Camry, the Honda, they're still holding their own, but there's just a little bit of depreciation that makes that car a better buy. And it's not just by us or some two used car guys over in Beverly Parkway talking of. These are national figures that are coming out of Auto Bytel, finding out these things. The number one best buy 2011 Hyundai Sonata. That's pretty neat.
And one of the reasons, like Ron touched on it just briefly, is the fact that the Sonata loses more money when you drive it out the door than a Honda or a Toyota, because the perception is still there that the Honda or the Toyota is a better car, so they don't lose as much money. So if you are going to be buying a used car, you're better off buying one that has a bigger depreciation, but that's still a good car, and that's where the Sonata comes in. Matter of fact, you can buy a 2-year-old Sonata and get as much warranty as you buy a brand new Honda Accord. The Honda Accord has 3 years of warranty, and the Sonata has 5 years. So, and you get into all that depreciation. It's unbelievable. I love selling Sonatas because I don't have any customer complaints with them.
We have 7 Hyundai Sonatas from a 2011, 2012, two 2013s, and a 2014. Wow, that's pretty cool.
That's very cool.
Good Sonatas. What else you got?
Well, one of the things we talk about is the fact that we sell so many cars, we have to buy so many cars. And this show is not just about selling cars and giving you advice. It's also out there to give you let you know that we need to buy cars. Now, I've bought some cars in the last 2 days. I'm going to rattle off and let you know how many cars that we're buying, but that's still not enough. We're selling cars at such a pace that I could use a car. So if you do decide to buy a brand new car, and we can't talk you out of it, which does happen at times, unfortunately, that you say, I'm going to buy a brand new, I just won the lottery. So, well, go ahead and buy that new car, but let us buy that used car from you. Let us at least give you a price on it before you go to the new car dealership. And sometimes you'll be astounded that when you go to independent dealership like ourselves, because we sell everything, that we're going to give you more money for your vehicle than you would if you went to a new car store. Now, one of the reasons that is, and I'll use Lexus as an example, if you go to the Lexus dealership Mobile and you're driving a diesel pickup truck, they're not too pumped up about your pickup truck. They're going to try to wholesale it. What that means is that they're at the mercy of somebody else giving them the price. Well, we do a really good pickup truck business because we're an independent dealer. So we sell the Dodge, the Chevy, the Diesel, the Ford. It doesn't matter. So you bring us the vehicle, and we're going to put good money into it because we have customers coming on our lot looking for vehicles like that where they don't. So that would be one of the reasons that we wouldn't give you a little bit more money for your vehicle.
One of the things I was going to read from this list is in 7 days, we've had 58 new vehicles come in. That's just astonishing to me. He's done a great job of buying up some cars, and he took a long weekend the other day. He took a long weekend the other week, and he bought a bunch of cars before he leaves, and that's good. That's what we need. We need that huge inventory to sell from. But in 7 days, you know, if you came to Frontier Motors a week ago, you would not have seen these 50-some cars.
I'm just going to give you one day. I'm just going to give you yesterday.
Just give you one day.
Yesterday, this is what we added to the lot. So if you were there 2 days ago, you wouldn't have saw these cars. A 2012 Buick LaCrosse Premium, a 2008 Chevy Impala, a 2005 Town & Country, a 2014 Mustang GT, a 2014 Hyundai Santa Fe, a 2014 Lexus CT200H Hybrid with 3,000 miles on, an 08 Lexus ES350, an 01 RX 300, a 14 Altima, a 13 Nissan Rogue, a 03 Nissan 350Z, an 05 Camry, an 11 Camry, a 12 Camry, and an 07 Town & Country. That's 1 day of what we purchased. And the reason I'm getting that is because a lot of customers come in, they're looking for a certain car. And I had this happen the other day with one of our salespeople. I asked the salesperson, well, the guy's looking for a $10,000 truck. And we didn't have any at that point. I said, well, did you get his name and number? No, he wouldn't give it to me. I said, well, was he serious about he really wanted? Yeah, he really wanted one, but I guess he didn't want to get bugged. Well, guess what? Like 3 hours later, we got a $10,000 truck that we could sell him for $10,000. And folks, what I'm getting at is if you stop at Frontier Motors, don't be afraid to leave your name and number. We're not going to bug you unless we get exactly what you're looking for.
Yeah, generally we don't bug you after 6 because we're closed at 6. Our hours are from 8 until 6 in the evening, and on Saturdays till 4. We're always closed on Sundays, so rarely will we bug you on Sundays. And that makes a difference.
Rarely.
It really does. I mean, you don't want to go home at
Sunday.
7, 8 o'clock and get bugged by a salesman, and that's not what we tell our salespeople to do. During business hours, make sure that they know what's going on. Leave us your name, or leave even a email address. You know, sometimes you got to go to work and you can't use your personal phone or pull out your cell phone. You know, that's forbidden. Well, sometimes you can get emails. If you leave us our email, sometimes a really good thing is we send you some pictures. It's like this gentleman. If you're looking for a $10,000 picture, a pickup truck, we could have simply took 4 or 5 pictures, put it on his email, and then when he has at his leisure, when he maybe sits down after dinner, pops up his emails, or in the morning when he gets up and he's having his cup of coffee, boom, boom, boom. there's the car at Frontier Motors, and he can make a decision on his own. So it makes it a lot easier with the new technology and everything that we have here. You know, some of our salespeople even take their phones out here, and they can take videos. You call them up and talk to Don Kurt. Don Kurt's one of the best at it. Takes his smartphone. He calls you up and asks him about a car. He goes and he takes a video. You want to know what color the interior is? He goes around and takes a video and sends it to you. Now, how simple and how easy is that to help you make a decision when you get there? You know, and you want to make a decision fast when you get out on a car lot nowadays. You know, this is July and August. This is temperature up. You know, this is 90 degrees days. You don't want to sit out in the middle of a 90-degree day trying to pick out 4, 5, 6 cars. You want to narrow it down to maybe 1 or 2. We got about 3 minutes left. We want to talk a little bit about financing. Financing's excellent. We touched a little bit on it earlier about the banks and the credit unions, but simply we have some of the best banks and credit unions in-house at Frontier Motors. We have Panera. We have Harvester Sped Credit Union. We have BB&T Bank. We have Fidelity National Bank. We have Wells Fargo Dealer Services, who's probably second to none in the Southeast United States, and Hancock Bank. And these are so easy to get to. We can actually, if you have good credit, by the time I type it in on the computer and hit enter, by the time I get back over to my computer screen, you're approved if your credit score is good. That's how fast it can be.
That's cool.
If there's some things that are they're in question, maybe your financial.
Years ago, it took a couple days to do
Oh,
that.
yeah. We'll see you next Tuesday.
Yeah. You come in and get an application, you'd have to fax it over. I remember I remember time before the fax machines. This is how old we are. I remember when we had to pick up the telephone, call the banker, and give the credit application over the phone.
Yeah, they have people sitting in there. They would take.
Yeah, and they would type it into the computer. That's how old we are. But now it's instantaneous. If you've got a 700 credit score or higher, you're instantly approved.
Yeah.
We don't even have to wait for an approval.
Yeah.
And even if you don't have that type of credit score, it takes maybe an hour to get an approval. And the rates that we have at Frontier Motors, you'll be surprised that a lot of times we'll actually beat the rate that you might have with your bank or credit union that you've done business with for the last 20 years. Yeah. Because we have some banks that specialize in auto loans only. So you'll be surprised that we don't mark up the rate. They give us a flat fee to do the paperwork, so we still make money on the financing, but we don't jack up the rate. If anything, we even go lower than what your bank and credit union can do for you.
See, we fast. He believes in fast. Ivan's fast. He talks a little fast.
We only got a couple
He's
seconds
fast.
left,
He's
so
real fast.
really
You get
fast.
everything done fast. I'm a
a
little bit
fast
slower.
talking car salesman.
I'm a little bit bigger. I'm a little bit slower, so I do things a little bit slower.
Let's talk about our locate program real quick.
Locate program. If you're one of those people going from dealership to dealership to dealership, can't seem to find the right car, guess what? Come to Frontier Motors. Sit down with a salesperson. Sit down with Ivan, myself, or one of our sales managers. We'll book out the car. We'll give you the car's price. We'll price your trade-in. And we'll go get the car without you paying before you see it.
No way. Who does that?
Only Frontier Motors. You got to give them a deposit?
No.
You got to give them a signature?
No.
You just got to give them their word, their promise. You'll
A
come back and look
handshake.
at a handshake. That's what it's all about at Frontier Motors. I think we got a few seconds left. Frontier Motors, 230 Beverly Parkway. Give us a call at 436-8080 or visit our website at www.frontiermotorsinc.com.
Thanks for watching. Have a great day and listening. Auf Wiedersehen.
Guess what? You're in luck. Frontier Motors is down the street. Got the best deals that can't be beat. Don't overpay. Come in today. Doing business the old-fashioned way. Frontier. We got the right price. Frontier. We'll treat you mighty nice. Frontier Motors. Low overhead country.